Welcome into another college football win total breakdown, ACC win total breakdown here. We're starting with the ACC. We'll hit all the conferences. Don't worry, we'll hit all the conferences, but we're starting with the ACC. We started from the lowest win total. We're almost at the top here. We're doing the Virginia Tech Hokies, Va-Tech. We'll save the three big boys for tomorrow in Miami, Clemson, and Florida State. How's it going to work? We're going to go through the schedule. I'm going to say the wins. I'm going to say the losses. I'm going to say what's the most likely number, the most likely outcome. That'll sway us one side, over or under. And then I'll say whether or not I would bet it or not. Would I advocate to bet it? We've only had one bet so far. It's Georgia Tech. If you want to go see that video, you can. It's on the channel. It's in a playlist. Virginia Tech's an interesting team. A lot of people think this is the fun team in the ACC. A lot of people are saying this team can make some noise, that they're a dark horse in the ACC. And yes and no, in my opinion. No, I don't think they stack up talent-wise to a lot of these big teams. But when you look at the schedule, it is criminally easy. Their third hardest game on the schedule is Rutgers. Yes, their third hardest game is Rutgers, which maybe Rutgers can be better this year, but you would think they would have a harder game than Rutgers, at least three of them. Win total's 8.5. It's pretty high. This is a pretty big jump they're predicting Virginia Tech to make here. Let's see if we can get 9 wins. They start off week 1 at Vanderbilt. Yes, Vanderbilt's an SEC team. Yes, it's going to be a tough place to play, but it's the worst SEC team. I got Virginia Tech going in there and winning week 1, and maybe it opens some eyes for some people here for Virginia Tech. Week 2, they're home for Marshall. I got them winning that game as well. Week 3 at Old Dominion. I think that is a win, and I believe Old Dominion has upset Virginia Tech recently. I don't know if it was last year or not. It might have been 2 years ago, but I got that as a win. This team's 3-0, and they're home for Rutgers, and what I think is a defensive battle, boring field position type of game. I think that's going to be Rutgers' MO this year, more punt and D, field position. But I think it's a pretty, on a neutral court, or field, sorry, it's a pretty toss-up game. I'm going to lean Virginia Tech because they are home. If Rutgers was home, I probably would give it to Rutgers here, but I am going to give it to Virginia Tech here. They're 4-0 to start the season. I think that's when people start talking about this team. There's little rumblings about this team. Can they make a run? And then week 5, they absolutely run into the juggernaut of the Miami Hurricanes, and they drop their first game here. They're 4-1. Week 6, they're at Stanford. I think that's a tough one. You don't know how this team's going to react going all the way to Stanford after losing to Miami. There might be a hangover spot, and then you got to travel all the way across country to California to take on Stanford. And yes, Stanford's not the best team in the world. I have Virginia Tech winning as of now. I think they're 5-1, but that's a game right there you circle where they could lose that game. Week 8. Home versus Boston College. Win total's 8.5, by the way. I don't know if I said it. Week 8 home for Boston College. I got that as a win. Week 9 home for Georgia Tech. I got that as a win. Week 10 at Syracuse. I have that as a loss. Now, you might argue that one, but I think those 3 games, Boston College, Georgia Tech, Syracuse, I think they go 2 for 3 in those games. If you don't think they lose the Syracuse game, I think they lose one of those games. I think that's fair to make that assumption that they lose one of those games. So that makes them 7-2 going into the Week 12 bye. Week 11, they are home for Clemson. It's a good spot to get Clemson because I think Clemson's really struggling on depth, especially because they didn't hit the portal. But I think Clemson's going to be too much, especially on defense. They're struggling with depth. But I think Clemson's going to be too much for them. They might be a little worn out, Virginia Tech. I'm going to take Clemson here. So they're 7-3 into the bye week. Then week 13, they're at Duke, which should be a win, in my opinion. I think Duke, by that point, will be far and beyond the worst team in the ACC, and they'll be able to steamroll them. And then week 14 is the rivalry game. They are home this time for the Virginia Cavaliers. I think they get it done. I don't really like Virginia this year, and Virginia Tech is home in the game. I think that's a massive advantage. I'm going to take Virginia Tech. That is a 9-3 schedule here, prediction for the Virginia Tech. The win total is 8.5. We are taking the over, as I think the most likely outcome of wins is 9. Now, I would lean 8 before I would lean 10 for Virginia Tech Hokies. I think a team like Virginia Tech, 10 wins, it would be astonishing for them. And I think that's just way too much to ask for. I can't possibly see them winning 10. I think it's 9, 8, or 7. taking the over, though. I think 9 is the most likely outcome. I'm not betting it. I think it's going to be a fun story this year, this team. And they might have a lot of eyeballs on them. They might be a little Cinderella run here. I think they can make other teams nervous. Like they can make Clemson nervous that Week 11 game. I think that would be a sneaky, very good game. But ultimately, they're not going to pull that one out. But they still go over this win total. We have Virginia Tech over. If you want more ACC win total predictions, go hit the channel. I got all of them in there in a playlist. I got all my college football win total picks in another playlist. We got the 3 big boys tomorrow in Florida State, Miami, and Clemson. If you like it, please hit subscribe. When you go find the playlist, please hit subscribe. Might have a bet tomorrow. I'm Josh Wissing. Thank you.